Welcome to the Wednesday recovery coaching call. It is 5 o'clock Eastern on June 17th. Welcome, everyone. And again, just as a reminder, this is the coaching call, and I want to invite all of you guys to allow your coaching, your natural coaching instincts to show up. So there's three very important qualities that I use when I coach. And number one is the ability to hold space for other people, the people that are talking, that need help, allowing your intuition to guide you, and then asking open-ended, powerful questions. So the first thing I want to do is I'd love to check in on Shanna. Shanna, how are you doing? How did it go this week for you?
It's been rough, but it's going good. I'm starting Hope tomorrow, and I'm going to go ahead and go on this boxing and hopefully do better.
Your internet is cutting out pretty good, Shanna. I missed that part. Can you repeat that?
But I've been trying to support. I'm going to go to the Hope Center tomorrow and start on to boxing after, and I can keep myself clean. And I've been finding a lot of support with the groups down here and with people I've met through here, and this has been like a really big rock for me. And so this would mean a lot to me. I'm really grateful for it.
Well, it's
kind of fun. Just make sure
you hold on strong, dear. Okay, you keep it together. We're here to support you. Make sure to stay close to the groups so that we can support you as best we can. All right, good. Okay, so we checked in with Shanna.
I appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate you. All right. And okay, so I wanted to check in with Rebecca. Rebecca's not here. So let's kick things off. So I think that Paulie, he had reached out to me and said, hey, it's something I'd like to bring to the group. So Paulie, why don't you start us off today?
Hi, how you doing? How's everybody doing?
Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you. Sorry I came in late, but I'm here. So that's what counts. Better late than never, right?
Yes.
Anyways, yeah. What I want to talk about was I'm having some trust issues that I'm trying to do, make changes in my life, do some career changing and stuff. And for me, when things are happening lately, I know I need to help. I need to reach out and get help. I can't do everything myself, but I've had some disappointments in my life. And just recently, the other night, I really realized how serious it was because I started dreaming about it. I had a very vivid dream. And for me, when I have a very vivid dream, that's my subconscious telling me, hey, you really need to take some action on this situation because it's now affecting your sleep. So it had to do with, like I said, it has to do with trust. I've started a couple projects, and it was a really crazy dream. I'd like to share it with you. I was going, well, basically what it was I had a van, and I had all my stuff in the van, and people started taking it. And I was like, wow. And then some friends came along and helped me gather all my stuff and get all my stuff back together. And I said, how nice. So we went for a road trip. Well, then we got down the road, and they put me out on the side of the road, not only took all my stuff, but my van also, and then left me sitting on the side of the road. And then I woke up, and I went, you really need to take a look at this, Paulie, because that is some serious trust issues. So, like I said, for me, I've had several occasions. I had a 20-year marriage that I ended in an unwanted divorce at the time. I had business dealings with individuals in which I've been, where I've been disappointed, where I've been taken advantage of financially in different situations. And then just this winter, I started a new project that I'd worked on with another individual for a whole year. And that person at the very last minute, when we were getting ready to launch, as I was buying and creating business cards and web pages and telling everybody about it, decided to take not only bow out of our agreement, but take the financial backer that we had with them and left me sitting with nothing. So not that I really had anything to begin with, but it left me just in awe. I mean, I was blindsided, never saw it coming. So now as I move forward, I'm having these challenges on who do I trust? How do I trust? Getting over that fear, because it's all up here. It's really all my own fear, you know. So I was hoping that maybe I could get some advice, man. Some
A little coaching.
I could take with me.
A little coaching. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, a little coaching. All right. So, Paulie, you seem to be, this is going to be, okay, so for you guys that are listening, sometimes I'll ask questions, sometimes I'll mind read, okay? Because I like, sometimes I'll just create a scenario and see if that lands for the person, okay? So it's what it feels like, what you're describing to me, Paulie, and you could correct me, please, if I'm on track. But it feels as though that through the years you've been attracting people that have taken advantage of you. Okay, unmute
Yes,
yourself.
that's the way I feel. Yes.
Okay. And if you can go back in time, if you can go back as far as you can, when was the first time someone took advantage of you?
Well, it was my kids in my neighborhood.
Okay. Okay. So tell me that story. I think you're thinking about it right now. What happened?
Wow. I wasn't anticipating going this far back and deep.
I know.
I've always, I had older kids in my block. I was always trying to fit in. My parents, I was very active in sports. And my parents bought me a bicycle so I could ride to all the practices and to the games, because they didn't have time to take me. We were probably 9, 10. And some kids that I had looked up to, that I thought were my friends, stole my bicycle while I was at practice. And I went home and told my dad, and he was furious. He was mad. And I come to find out who had stole it. These kids come and they joked around. I said, my dad's furious. He's going to call the police and have you arrested and all this. And somehow I let them talk me into taking a baseball bat to my own bicycle to try to make it look like somebody else did it, and to save them from going to jail or being arrested, facing any consequences of their own of their decisions.
So you take a baseball bat to your own bike.
With them, yes.
With them. Do you take the bike home?
Yes.
What did you tell your dad?
That I found it this way, laying along we used to live along some railroad tracks.
What'd your dad say?
He was very disappointed. He was upset. He fixed it. He never thought I had any part in it.
Mm-hmm. And to this day, does he know that story?
No, thankfully he has passed, but that I would never have to tell him that story. I would be too ashamed.
So there's a lot of shame around that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. If your dad was here right now, What would you tell him?
I would tell him I was very sorry for behaving that way, not being willing to step up, man, and be the man that he wanted, like he always asked me to be.
Was your dad like a tough guy?
No, my dad was he was a stern man, but he was fair, and he was very black and white, uh, and he was very principled. I should say, right was right, wrong was wrong. That's all. You go to work, you do your job, pay your taxes, you build a house, you provide for your family, you go to church. It's what you do. He was a good old Swedish man.
Upstanding model citizen.
Yes.
So what effect did this have in your life over the course of the next few months?
Wow. Just going down this road of deceit and dishonest and manipulation and yeah.
So you spiraled out of control.
Yeah. It wasn't long after that. Within a couple of years after that, I was then hanging around started using drugs and alcohol within a year or two after that.
How often do you think of this moment?
As little as possible. I hadn't thought about it for probably about 30 years, I would think.
Yeah, it came up in 30 seconds. So
well, yeah.
it's there, okay? Yeah. And when you think about this, when you think about the type of man and the type of father that your dad was, when you think about the shame that you felt in that moment, going to your dad, lying to him about what happened, going along with these kids that did not deserve to be protected. So here you are protecting these kids. Why do you think you protected these kids?
Because I wanted to be liked. Because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be accepted. Like so many of my decisions.
I wanted to be liked. I wanted approval. So do you think that maybe there's a part of you that still feels that an amends needs to be made for that moment?
Wow, that's a great question. It probably would help. Definitely would help.
Who do you need to make that amends to, brother?
To my father. To my mother. Both.
Who else?
There goes that question. I know I think I'm making amends to myself.
Let it sink in. Let it sink in. Let the penny drop. Let it sink in. Okay. You're still punishing yourself. See, until you make amends, until you forgive yourself, then you are going to attract these people that are going to take advantage of you because that's what you deserve. There's a part of you that every time you get burned, it's this indirect amends for that moment. And I want to be liked and I want to be approved. And I want to be liked and approved by these people that are not good for me. So then another question is, what is it about people that are not good for me that I need their approval?
That I don't have an answer for.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I don't know is an acceptable answer. But here's where we're at, Paulie. And I know that when we look at the most important people in our lives, and so now we have to just, if we take inventory and we make a list and we start looking, who are the most important people in my life? Who deserve my loyalty? Who is it that deserves my loyalty? Because in that moment, my loyalty went to some lying, thieving, little skis bags. And I lied to my father, and I conspired with them. And so I might want to take a look at the people in my life that are the most important. My father, my mother, my wife, and take a look at, am I still exhibiting some of that behavior? Am I still putting the wrong people before the people that I care about the most and risking my marriage, risking my livelihood, risking what is in danger currently? Because that's what it feels like to me. I'm about to make a decision. I'm about to make a move. And the trust issue is I don't trust myself. I need help because I don't trust myself. I see a hand. I see Gary. Gary, did you mean to put your hand up again? I think last time. Jump in, Gary.
There we go. Just kind of a question. And I don't know if this is the right forum for it or not. And a lot of guys like Paulie know what's going on in my life. Right now, I'm overwhelmed. I'm kind of beaten down, and every day is running into the next. Now, through all this, my sobriety has never been threatened, and it won't be. I'm too hard-headed to let that happen. But it's getting to a point where it's difficult to take anymore. I've got big shoulders, but I can only carry so many things. And I really don't know what to do at this point because now, not only is it my wife, but now I guess it's me too. So life took a whole new look, a new turn. Normally, I led, I made decisions, I was strong, I took care of problems, and what? But now it's like, I don't know what to do anymore.
All right. So, Paulie, we're going to take a brief.
Sorry, man. Thank you so much.
No. I'm going to come back. I just want to. Okay, and I want you to help me with Gary here. Okay, we'll tag team him. So, Gary, you said you're overwhelmed. For what reason are you overwhelmed?
Because of medical conditions.
And what are those conditions?
I don't know, a little over 2 months ago, my wife was diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma.
Oof.
So we've been dealing with appointments and driving 2 hours to and running around and then driving to Mankato, which is about 40 minutes. And this is 3-4 days a week that we're doing it. And so I put off a bunch of little things I thought about myself because I wanted to be there and take care of her. That's my job. And I know I should worry about myself, but I'm not good at that at all. And I went in yesterday and found out there's something wrong upstairs. And I told him, I could have told you that 30 years ago. There's probably nothing up there. But now I've got all this in front of me, all these appointments. I've got specialists, tests, on top of everything else. And it's just like, man, where do you get a break? I don't know. Like I said, this maybe isn't the right forum, but
Oh, this is the right forum, my friend. You've come to the right place.
I just wanted to tell you what was going on.
Gary, first of all, I want to applaud you and commend you for, doing what you're doing for your wife and knowing your place, knowing what you need to do, knowing who you need to be for her. Okay. So first of all, let me applaud you and commend you for that. Okay.
Thank you.
But you know what? Here's some more good news for you, Gary. Really some more good news. Because you know what to do for your wife, you also know what to do for yourself. You are going to have to treat yourself the way you treat your wife. You're going to have to look in the mirror and see your wife in yourself.
And that's difficult for me because I've always been a giver. It's just my nature. If anything I see or, somebody drops a purse or whatever, that's a bad example, but I'd be the one that would pick it up and give it to them or whatever. And I've always, maybe it's my background in military and Boy Scouts, but I've always done what's right. And with this, you do what, you can't do what's right. You do what they tell you to do, right, wrong, or indifferent. If you're going to be a success with treatments, you have to follow their plan. So,
what would it take, Gary? What would it take for you to feel deserving to care for yourself?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm very bad at that.
I know. I hear you, and I hear you, and I feel you, but I know that deep down inside, there's a much younger, softer version of Gary that needs a lot of love and a lot of attention. And somewhere along the line, he came to believe that he wasn't good enough or deserving of taking care of himself. So he spends all of his time caring for others in order to validate himself.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is my dad was a career Air Force officer, and we moved all the time. So everything had to be perfect all the time. Where your shoes were, blah, blah, blah. And I played 3 sports. Actually, I'm athletic. I played them quite well. I lettered all the time. Some of the schools I'd only been at 3 months. But he would always find criticism in however I played, whatever I did.
And that's the voice. That's it.
He got cancer. I was the one out there that flew out to Indiana to take care of him in his last 2 weeks of life. Now, my sister couldn't do it. It's not her thing. But, I had emotional support, but I was there dealing with hospice and taking care of him. And that was difficult for me sometimes. I just felt like, I'm doing this and I should do this, but I'm also 16 hours away from my family. And that was difficult.
So here's what we're going to do, Gary, because I'm going to let Cindy talk here. and then I'm going to let Paulie come at you. But I think the first step here is we're going to love on you, and we're going to care for you until you can learn to love and care for yourself, brother. That's why I want to commend you for being the man that you are, for stepping up for your wife, for being there for your father. That in there, you deserve that same love and care for Gary. Okay, so I want you to keep showing up at these meetings, and I want you to share vulnerably, just like you did right now, so that we can tell you how much we love and respect you, and we want you to keep coming back until.
It's hard for me. It's difficult. My generation, you didn't share. You didn't open up your heart. You kept quiet and you dealt with it. This is a whole new world for me.
It's easy does it. Cindy, jump in.
I mean, like, I applaud you for taking care of your family, because not everybody will do that. That's not a given for a lot of people. And it's a lot harder work than most people realize when it comes to medical stuff. The only other thing I wanted to say is what I usually tell patients is to take it one step at a time. Because I know myself, even when I have medical stuff go on, right? Like we go from, I know this to I'm already 6 days ahead, and I'm thinking of everything that's got to happen in the next 6 days for this to happen. And you have to sort of go back to basics and break it down. And it's like, what do I have to do today? Like, what are the appointments today? What do I have to do today for tomorrow to be okay? Like, and just one step at a time, because a lot of the times when there's more than one doctor involved, it's like, we start to do this, I do this thing where it's like, oh, well, if this doctor says this, then what's going to happen with that? And then if that doctor says that, then what's going to happen there? And then, and I'm already like, I have myself at a resolution that's never even going to happen, right? Versus if I go, okay, I'm going to go to this doctor, and then I'm going to deal with that, and then I'll do the next thing. And so for me, I have to break it down before I go way into the tunnel. But that's just me.
No, I think that makes sense. Yeah, and it's multiple doctors. I mean,
Look at that.
in the course of the last 2 months, we've
Biggest
seen
concrete pad in all.
doctors.
Yeah. And remember, and I think you're already doing this, remember to advocate for yourself and for your wife. When you ever feel like your questions are not being answered, demand that you get answers. Doctors are not gods. They just have more school. So they need to answer all the questions to your satisfaction all the time.
Don't get away with it with me.
I didn't think so, but just in case.
No. Yeah,
Gary,
What?
sorry, go ahead, Gary.
I was just going to say that's really not one of my concerns, is communicating with medical personnel. I was fire and rescue. I know a lot about stuff, and I'm not going to deal with someone beating around the bush. I want it now, and I want it in front of me so I can attack it.
I love it. I love it. I want it now so I can attack it. Go ahead, Tamara.
Yeah. So Gary, hi, my name's Tamara. I don't know if you saw in the chat, but I just really wanted to commend you for, your strength, your bravery, and your resilience for, being there for your family and taking care of, the physical and structural needs that, is required for what you're going through right now. I can't imagine. I've not myself had to be there for somebody in that capacity. I just know personally, I related to what you said about your giver, like same for me. It comes second nature to me to want to be like that kind, caring, giving person that, wants to step in and help, step in and fix everything. And, where I put that forward a lot was in my job and in the career path that I was going down. And so what it ended up doing was just completely depleting me, putting all of my, self-care and, just health on the back burners, and I ended up burning myself out. And so while I'm still in really early stages of recovery, I'm only 2 weeks in. Today is day 15. I've just like dipped my toe into the recovery pool, but what I can recognize now a little bit more clearly is that, you know, I can't really be there for somebody to the fullest extent, or like in a capacity that could like truly benefit them, unless I'm really taking care of myself, and unless I myself am in a really great, strong, you know, grounded foundation. And so that's what I've been working on for myself, is all of my self-care and health and wellness. And what's great about that is not only does it benefit me as a person and, you know, my life, then it allows for me to just be able to give back to, you know, my loved ones, the community, into the world, just that much more. I have that much more to give back because I'm so much, I'm well taken care of. I've been able to look after my needs and everything. So I don't feel depleted when I give out and give back. So,
You
if
know,
you can just
I
even,
think
yeah,
women are a lot better at that than men are. There's something that they pay attention to. They've been trained to do that all their lives. And so you do much easier than us. We jump out of the shower, we maybe comb our head, and away we go.
mm-hmm.
You know,
I mean, I wasn't taking care of myself for going on 7 years, so I don't know about that, but
It's debatable,
yeah.
Gary. It's debatable. All right, let's get Paulie in here. Thanks, Tamara. Go ahead, Paulie.
Hey, Gary, good to see you. Thanks for stepping up and sharing and being vulnerable. You know, we have talked. I do know. Me and Gary also, we shared about this. I know the roller coaster that he's on. If having a loved one with terminal cancer or any kind of cancer is the most craziest roller coaster you could ever be on, because it's like being powerless, being forced to go on the ride over and over, and you don't want to be on the ride. I don't want to be on this ride, but you got no choice. They throw you back on this ride, and every day, no matter how well you try to plan it out, no matter how well you try to prepare, it's not enough. And you said about the fact that, you know, you want it to be perfect, and your father, you got to accept the fact there's nothing perfect about this. It's ugly, it's unfair, it's sad, it's everything all rolled into this big ball of shit. All right. And you just got to do what you got to do to survive it. At least for me, I want to go with what Omar was saying, is bringing this to this platform. For me, how I got through it was I had a platform. I had a group of people I went to. I cried, I screamed, I kicked, I yelled. It wasn't fucking fair. Why did my mom have to have pancreatic cancer? If you want to go back to, I felt guilty. I'm the one that should have had it. I was the piece of shit. She never smoked a day in her life, yet she got sick. Why? That wasn't fair. You know, my father, like I said, was a stout man, did everything right, saved every penny for when they were going to retire. And it wasn't fair to him to watch him cry and to give up everything, doing everything he could to support her, you know. And it's not gonna be fair, man. It's good. And you just come to these places. If you're angry, be angry. If you're sad, be sad. Let it out. Just, it is what it is. There's nothing right about it. So don't be ashamed. Don't feel guilty. Don't, just be every day. Just be, whatever it is.
I try, and you know, in our group, I've shared quite a bit, but you can only kick a dog so many times. And, you know, you just get the vibe that, okay, you said it, you've dealt with it a couple nights, put it back in the closet, you know. You can say I had a good day, I had a bad day, whatever, but you don't have to be, you know, necessarily putting that out there. So I don't.
But I want to encourage you not to do it. If it's there, it's there. I don't want you to feel that just because you did it yesterday or you did it an hour ago, you can't do it again today. You can. It's all right.
But on that, you know, in our group, Paul, as you know, we're dealing with a lot more people that are just beginning sobriety and they need their time.
And they'll get their time. They'll get their time.
Yeah.
We'll go over. We'll extend the meeting. We'll have another meeting. It's okay. You can contact me one-on-one. Contact anybody here. It's okay.
Yep.
It's okay.
All right. Thanks, Paulie.
Well said. Well done. Brandy, you're up.
Hi, Gary.
Hi.
I was just thinking that maybe there's some grief process that you're going through right now. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but I do grief counseling through a hospice agency. And one of the things that we tell people when we're doing classes, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, my internet says it's unstable. But don't shit on yourself. And so I think when we're going through grief things, we're hard on ourselves, and it sounds like you're being hard on yourself about things that you're not getting done. So I think it's a really good time to let yourself feel it so you can heal it and be kind to yourself.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
Don't shit on yourself. What's that? Yeah, it is. It is hard to do.
Well,
It is. There's a
in.
lot of guilt. Go ahead.
It's only gonna get worse.
All right, Gary. So I'm gonna go back to Paulie because I want to jump back in to where Paulie was at. But I just want you to ponder on this, Gary. I want you to just ponder on this. That sometimes we get caught up with words and we get caught up with definitions. So maybe your definition of self-care is different than what it actually is. And right now, you sharing and you allowing us to support you and to give you suggestions, that is a form of self-care. Going to a meeting and sharing about your struggles, about your fears, that's a form of self-care. Getting plenty of sleep or good sleep, that's also self-care. Drinking water is it doesn't have to be something so monumental where it feels guilty that you're indulging yourself in self-care. It's not taking a vacation to Tahiti. It's simply just making sure that your cup is full, that you have enough energy to stand up and do what you just said here. Oh, I go to the doctors. I want to know what's going on now so I can take action. Those were your words. And so one day, I want to hear that about Gary. I'm going to take care of Gary now so that I can take action. And it's just about allowing, Gary. Keep showing up to the calls. Keep sharing. Eventually it will click. But self-care, don't create such a big thing like, oh, I don't know how to take care of myself. It's really more about doing something that you weren't taught to do. I wasn't taught to do either. I'm part of a very male-dominated culture, which is grin and bear it. Okay, nobody wants to hear your shit. Just get it done. That's how I was. Same. And we've changed. We've changed, Gary. It's not just women who are allowed to be vulnerable anymore. We can cry and we can be vulnerable and we can talk about what we're struggling with in front of men, in front of women, and we can ask for help. Okay? It's just one day at a time, my friend.
Yeah, I'm talking about it today, but the other things are difficult for me, the crying, the letting it out, bring it to a meeting, because I just feel like, I've got to overcome this and make it work for everybody in the family. And, it's really tough because we're not just isolated, but we're locked down, where nobody can come to our house. We can't go anywhere. because of Linda, and it's difficult time.
I got you. I got you. Okay. Let me just read real quick, and then I'm going to jump to Polly. Gary, I'm going to just read real quick. Here's what Michael Stewart wrote. Much love and respect, Gary. Keep sharing, buddy. Tracy wrote, thanks for sharing, Gary. She's keeping you and your wife in her prayers. Tamara said, thank you. She shared. She got on the call. Thank you for sharing. You're strong, resilient, and brave. And that's what we're going to give you today. That's what we feel you deserve that, Gary. We want to love on you. Okay?
Thank you.
Love you, buddy. Paulie, jump back in here, man.
Yes.
Okay. So fortunately, we had some time for you to process a little bit. What landed for you when we were talking?
You got to bring me back in a sense of
We were when we opened up, it was like, I have trust issues. I'm having nightmares about getting robbed, not just getting robbed, but ripped off by my friends. That's the nightmare you had. And as I started asking you questions, where did we end up? We ended up with your buddies who you were trying to impress because you needed their approval.
Right. Yeah. I now I remember.
Okay.
I think what started to resonate when you were talking about at the end there, when that this is affecting my life. Who this decision that I'm making now. Who do I trust? Who's most important in my life? My wife, my daughter, my kids.
Mm-hmm.
That even though they're older, they're still very important to me. And so, in their trust and not letting them in, not so much that of my kids are great. I don't think offhand that I'm worried about disappointing them as much as I am just making sure that they're part of they're in, and that I'm not still acting on unintentionally in those deceitful ways of just if maybe not outright lies, but lies of omission by not sharing and not being open necessarily where I'm at, trying to put on that false image that I've got it all together and everything's fine and I don't need your help, and down deep I really do.
Okay. All right. So here's the thing. Every time you lie by omission, what's going to surface is that shame that you felt back when you were a kid. That has not been resolved. The amends has not been made. It's an open wound. And so I'm trying to prove to myself that I can do this. I can make it happen. This time it's going to be different. I can do it. So I don't talk to anybody. I don't ask for help. I don't seek wise counsel. Because I want to show them that I can do it, that I can be trusted. Tell me where that lands for you, brother.
Boom, you blew up my world. you just blew it right up. Where did I leave my camera on or my recorder on microphone when I when I thought the meeting was over? Where did you? It's like boom, and you're there, man. That is what's all
day for the last 20, 30, 40 years.
Rolling over, and all by taking inventory, and I have about things that went wrong. Not it always boils down to lack of asking for help. I can do it. I'll figure this out, even though they, didn't pay me. I'm, for the work that I did, I'm still going to figure this out. I don't need anybody's help. I don't need to go talk to my accountant and find out really, that I don't have a clue about financial situations. I'll figure it out, So, and then
Yeah,
then
you
like
can't
Gary,
trust. You
I
can't
get
trust
overwhelmed.
yourself. You can't trust yourself. It's not about trusting others.
Wow.
Where you landed here, brother, where you came here, wasn't about trusting other people. It was about learning to trust yourself.
Wow.
And that's why we're here to help you. At some point, like, here's the thing. If you could, let's see if this will land, because something just landed for me. If you could go back in time, if you could go back to that moment where those kids took your bike and you went to them and you said, my dad is going to call the police and you're going to get arrested. And they said, no, man, you got to help us out. Okay, let's just bang up the bike. What would you do now?
I'd say, hey, you should have thought about that before you pulled this stunt. It's out of my hands. It's out of my hands, man. And I would have walked away and never looked back.
Would you have walked away without your bike, or would you walked away with your bike?
Well, with the bike. The bike, but not having any regrets, not worrying one bit whether they liked me, what they thought, what happened to them in that aspect. I would have detached from them on a personal level.
For what reason? What's the highest intention here?
Because it wasn't good for me. Because they had nothing good for me. They were selfish and self-centered, and they had there was nothing healthy in that relationship with them for me.
What would you have told your dad?
I would have told them the truth. I would have said, I found my bike. These guys took it.
Moving forward, what's the next big decision you have to make?
Who am I gonna put in my trust circle? Who am I going to ask for help, and who I'm gonna start working with?
Okay, so you don't have a big decision to make right now. What? Thank God. So right now, what we're doing is we are going to make some changes. We are going to make some changes. Who's going to be in that circle? I can think of one person immediately who belongs in that circle. Gary's in there, but who else?
Right.
I'm in there. Who else?
Right. Myself.
Chris just dumped in. I'm still thinking about her.
My wife.
Yeah.
My daughter.
Stop there.
All right.
Let me tell you something, brother. When you're married, she's the most important person.
True.
She's the most important person. And at some point, she needs to know that she's the most important person. And I know that you get scared. And I know you want to show her that you can do it. And I know you want her to be proud of you. And so you take these big swings, man. You take these big swings.
For the fence.
For the fence. And when you strike out, it's painful.
Guilt and shame all over again.
And then guess what? Instead of going to her first and saying, honey, here's the direction I'm going. What do you think? I got to go, honey, you're not going to like this, but here's what happened.
Boom. You called out my pattern again.
Yeah, buddy. It's all patterns, brother. It's all patterns. And today What are we going to do, Paul?
We're going to break that pattern.
We're going to fucking break that pattern. We're going to fucking crush that pattern. Right, Chris? Chris knows what I'm talking about. Okay? All that soft spoken, me guiding you there. The shift. Release the fucking Kraken. Step up, stick your chest out, shoulders back. I have nothing to fear. Nothing to fear. Because I have my higher power behind me. I've got my wife right beside me. And I can always call O.
That's right.
And you know that. And you know
right.
That.
And you answer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, buddy. So what are you going to do?
I'm going to talk with my wife, and I'm going to do one other thing.
Tell me.
I'm going to go make amends to my parents.
Oh, dude, I cry on every one of these calls now. Jesus fucking God.
I'm going to write it out.
Jesus.
It's going to be short and sweet,
Oh.
and I'm going to go see him tomorrow.
I love you, brother.
I love you. Thank you.
I love you so much. I am proud of you.
I need that's that dirty little secret back there.
This is going to heal you so much. You deserve this. Gary, I hope you're paying attention to all this. This is how you do it. You just get butt naked honest, my friend. Because this is a safe place to do it. Whoo! Wow, we got 6 minutes left, but it just feels like, wow. Like, drop the mic. So I'll tell you what, here's how we're going to close this out. Does anyone have comments or questions or suggestions for Paulie? Love. There we go. Chris, unmute yourself, brother.
Hey, guys. Good to see y'all. Sorry I came in late. I just wanted to say, that how many people have received love from Paulie from all these meetings. I don't know if you know Omar, but he is definitely out there giving, and I wish I had what he has. He's the giver, and I'm so glad to see him getting the love that he deserves. Thanks for letting me share.
Ooh.
Thank you. Thank you.
So good. So good. Thank you, Chris. I love you, man. Great job, Paulie. You helped so many of us. Now you get it. Now you get in and help yourself. Much love and respect. Michael Stewart.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. All right, guys. I think we're going to just shut it down because this is just beautiful. This is perfect right here. Paulie, thank you for bringing down the house and dropping the mic on us, brother. I love you.
Love you too. Thanks for all your help, everybody. And have a good week. See you next week, if not before.
See everybody next week. Love you all.